Someone was out there throwing a spear last weekend. What did you do? Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Spartan Race. And yes, throwing a spear is part of it. There's a lot of other things going on there in the race as well. Make a public commitment, put a date on the calendar. Let's do a Spartan race together. If you use code SpartanDad, that's code SpartanDad, you'll get 25% off any race. For those wanting to race in Nashville, I have a way you can get your whole race paid for. Reach out to me. Check out Spartan Race. Use code SpartanDad. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at distilleryproducts.com. If you are a store, you're a group, you're a blog, you're a podcast, you're a distillery, whatever it is, you need laser edge glassware at wholesale prices. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to get you in touch with the whole family behind distilleryproducts.com doing amazing things. We use them. You should too at distilleryproducts.com. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Orca Coolers. Whether it's the Chaser, the Traveler, the Camper, the Barrels, the Roto-Molded Coolers, be the coolest dad this summer at the pool, at the beach, camping, whatever it is you're doing at orcacoolers.com. Use code DADSEASON for 20% off your order. That's code DADSEASON for 20% off your order. And make sure you check out, coming this summer, they're going to have their 10th anniversary cooler. It's going to be pretty cool. And then you can laser on that Chaser Teeny. You can put logos on there, custom stuff. It's going to be really cool. Use code DADSEASON for 20% off at orcacoolers.com. All right, Zeke, what does your handy dandy trusty list have for us today?
I mean, looking through this thing, I feel like either I forgot to delete some of these things, we've already done them, or I'm not quite feeling the vibe.
Is it a mood or a vibe? Like, that's what I need to know.
I think it's just the vibe. You know, you got to run with what you feel. Although I'll pitch out there, did I tell you about my fun time I got to have Saturday morning?
You did not.
So one of my boys from school that lives up here, I get a text from him. You know, we keep up a little bit, but not a ton. He's like, "Hey man, you still got that bush trimmer?" And I'm like, "Did I miss a joke somewhere? Like, are you being serious right now?" Because that's kind of a weird thing to put in a text.
Is this a ploy for you to get Manscaped to sponsor us?
No, besides you're hairier than I am. But either way, so then he sends me a text. Apparently he's got some hedges and stuff that are shared between him and a neighbor. He's like, "Yeah, my neighbor's kept up with these the past couple of years." I told him, "Look, you know, it's more than our turn. I'll make sure to tell our landscaping people to, you know, knock them out for us." They cut his half approximately. I mean, in like, not even in like the one side looks a little bit taller. It was a good 8 to 12 inch difference. Like, really? You paid somebody to do this? I mean, then I still just couldn't stop laughing. But yeah, so inevitably I ended up going down there Saturday morning and helping him out with trimming the bushes.
Well, that's what I understand. I mean, why did you have to go down to him? Why didn't he not come up and just borrow your trimmer and then return it?
I wouldn't trust him with it.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards. With me, as always, is Zeke Baker. And together, we make the Dad's Drink of Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us part of your day. There was this meme. I can't remember where it was or who put it out today, but I was looking at it like musicians be like, they're not going to like my stuff, and podcasters be like telling the most mundane story. That's what I felt like with our cold open. Like, there's always a sense of musicians, like they want to put something out there, but they don't know if the people are going to like it or not, and podcasts just don't give a shit.
I knew it wasn't going to be my best coming into it, but you know, as they say, the show must go on.
Yeah, we need something for the cold open, so I appreciate it. Our minds are kind of elsewhere tonight. As y'all know, I am a Bostonian by birth, although I was matured in the state of Kentucky and the state of Tennessee. I'm almost like a bottle from barrel bourbon, if you really think about it. You know, there's a lot of different states coming together in that blend. We're trying to watch the NBA Finals and talk to each other and record. There's a lot going on, and this Game 5 has been crazy. You know, the Celtics have been down for most of the time, and now they're finally up. It's 4:11 left in the third quarter. They've finally taken a lead, 63-61. A lot of fouls going on right now. I know I'm saying this after the fact. Y'all don't care. We'll see who wins this game, but Zeke and I are going to record this really quickly so we can go back and continue to watch what's going on here in the NBA Finals. So Blood Oath just put out Pact 8. It is the latest offering from Master Distiller John Rempe. It features bourbon finished in Calvados casks. Blood Oath Pact 8 features a combination of the finest bourbon Rempe could find, including a 14-year-old ride bourbon, an 11-year ride bourbon, as well as an 8-year ride bourbon finished in Calvados casks. Calvados is an apple or pear brandy from the Normandy region in northwestern France. I just said French. I'm going to leave that in there. That's like the southerner in me coming out. It was French. That is distilled from cider and aged for a minimum of 2 years in oak casks. These casks impart their unique aroma and flavor to make Blood Oath Pact 8 a one-of-a-kind pour. Rest of it, blah, 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 blah. Lots of quotes and other things that go into press releases. This one is $119.99 per 750 milliliter bottle. A limited supply of 17,000 3-pack cases will arrive at retail. It actually happened a couple months ago. We got this while I had COVID, so we are catching up, Zeke, in this. All of this is coming out at 98.6 proof, as it always does, because it's Blood Oath. Now that's 49.3 ABV. Dr. Zeke, do you know why this comes out at 98.6 if the name is Blood Oath?
I'm going to guess it has something to do with the temperature of the body and whatnot.
That is correct.
Although that is kind of interesting. I don't think you ever pointed that out before, or I've never heard that before.
It's kind of cool, isn't it?
It plays along into everything very well, but then again, as we've said plenty of times also, someone could also be selling themselves short by not, at least tinkering and seeing what are the proofs and what flavors are out there.
At least it's up a little bit higher, right? At least it's like not 88.6. 98.6 is at least closer to 100 for me, but I get it. Each blend, what if the blend was absolutely killer at 113.3 proof, and we'll never know.
Well, especially to be, it's a unique finish each year, right? Have all these been some type of wine or brandy finish? I was trying to think in my head, and I really couldn't remember.
Yeah, all sorts of things like that.
But I know they've done blending finishes, etc. But I at least in my head was thinking everything that had been done was, somewhere in the scope of the wine and brandy finishing space.
Yeah. What'd you think about it?
I thought even on the entry, it was fairly dry and had, notes of the finishing. I didn't necessarily know what they were until you just read that off to me. But like I say, being Blood Oath, had a pretty strong guess going in that this was going to be some type of wine and or brandy finished product. There were definitely some dark fruits that were there, but more so a lot more like a warm red wine or brandy type feeling. Kind of got prickly on the tongue for me. I wasn't sure if it was the grains I wasn't sure if it was the mash bill, so to speak, and then the finished cask, or necessarily the oak influence on the mash bill and then the finished cask that led to that sensation. But it was just kind of prickly and threw me off a little bit. I just didn't get a ton of synergy out of it. And that prickly that I got on the tongue, it wasn't, like a proof type sensation. I felt like it was definitely from one of the components, if that makes sense.
So something that was really funny, I'm going to go ADD for a second here. And it was happening real time, but somebody just was laughing because there was somebody on Instagram who tagged us in a story, and their girlfriend happened to be turning 26. And they were like, when your lady turns 26, you bust out the finest, and they had like an old rip for her or something. And everybody was blowing me up, but I didn't realize it because I hadn't been looking at my phone. And they're like, your girl's 26? And I'm like people on Instagram don't get, if you repost somebody else's story, they think it's your story. I'm like, my lady is not 26. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I'm not the social media savvy one here.
But you can figure out when somebody else...
When you repost it, it's not full screen. It's purposely smaller. And
there's a name.
The other person's handle up there or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't know if I get that. I feel bad for the layperson.
I mean, if Zeke gets it, y'all need to get that. Like, if you see us repost something and you see a name there and it doesn't take up the whole screen, it ain't our original post. There's so many people, like, I'll post somebody working out, they'll have good music, and they'll write me back like, that was a great music selection. I'm like, great, I didn't pick it. Getting back to this whiskey, Zeke. I mean, I get what you're saying, it's dry, but I do like the kind of apple and pear brandy aspect to it. But I mean, I understand 100% what you say about the fact it's dry. I do love the proof. I get a little bit of a hug, but not too much. I get a good coating of the mouth. I get a lot of flavor from it. I mean, if I had one thing to pick apart from it, what did I just miss?
Right at the quarter buzzer, dude just bombs it from like half court off the glass for a 3. Sorry, it was just like here you go.
Oh no, it's just getting it to it for me. Oh man.
I mean, the whole fourth quarter is still there, but
I know it just must be lagging behind you because I had 8 seconds left when you were like,
somehow YouTube TV is pretty fast.
Did you buy YouTube TV?
Yeah, I've had it for a while.
I don't even know where I left off. If there's one knock I had on it, ultimately, right, for me, this is probably a bar. I think it's good. I wish there was a way to kind of take that dryness off of it. I know that's the cask there, but I almost wonder if playing with the blend or adding something else in could kind of, but that's just your and I's preference. Our preference is we don't want a dry whiskey. There's plenty of people that like it. It's just not for us. So like, if you don't mind a dry finish, if you're really into wine and you like that kind of stuff, then go ahead. By all means, great pour for you. I think you and I like probably the sweetness. There is still a sweetness to this pour. That apple and pear does come through to me. I just wish it wasn't so dry along with that sweetness. And I think the dryness, like you said, it kind of made it prickly because it was so dry.
Well, and in all fairness too, admittedly not necessarily mine or probably your jam, but also this is the 8th release. And, kudos to them for, somewhat sticking to their guns, but also finding ways to be innovative in that space. At least that's how it kind of look at it from, all right, it's going to be some type of wine and brandy finish and also a blended product. And it seems they've found ways to still, keep innovation inside that somewhat of a narrow window. So, I can't knock that side of things. And, like you said, not to be a dead horse, it's just not necessarily mine or what I'm guessing is, your wheelhouse most days.
But there's so much about this. And again, I'm going to beat the dead horse here for a second. There's so much about this that I want to like. It's like I like everything except for the dryness. So I think I'm just going to say, I think it's a great blend. I think Rempe, like you said, does a good job. This is the 8th release. Obviously, they're doing good things down at Lux Row. Obviously, there's different flavors of Lux Row for everyone. Like you and I gravitate towards the Lux Row 12. There's going to be some people that gravitate to Blood Oath more. There's going to be some people that like a good Rebel cast strength. Like that is the beautiful thing, or the Davis County. Like that is the beautiful thing about brands and having different flavors. If you like wine finished stuff, and if you like apple and pear and like a white wine, I think the best thing here is if you like a white wine mixed with bourbon, this is your jam.
I can't disagree.
I concur, Doctor. Thank you so much to the Lux Row for sending us this. Go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Please leave us an open and honest review, just like we leave open and honest reviews about the whiskey we drink. Appreciate y'all dealing with a shorter show while we go watch the NBA Finals. Cheers, buddy.
Ciao.